is 1:01 p.m. on Tuesday, May 7th. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We do have quorum with 5 members present. So I'll start with roll call. Onana Thone, Chair of the Council. Mike, I'll go to you next.
I'm Mike Lang from the Big Island.
Thanks,
I'm
Mike.
glad to be part of the committee and the council. Although this is my last meeting, I want to say that I really had a good time, particularly going through that 20,000 page analysis of the fish catching group. Anyway,
Mike, is this your last meeting? Jeez.
it is.
Okay. I have to go check my list. Well, thank you very much for your service, of course, and we're going to be sad to lose you if that's the case. Oh, shoot. You're not through June? June 30th?
Until June 30th. So,
yes. Okay, well,
I'm-
are you going to be able to make June? Oh, you said you can't make June meeting. That's why. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So you can still count me.
Okay, well, yeah, again, we've of course enjoyed you and thanks so much for your expertise over there. We'll talk more about that later, but thank you for letting me know.
Well,
Okay, let's continue with introductions. Robin.
Robin Kay, this is my last meeting as well. I'm done in June, but I'm going to be in Asia in June with my son. So this is
Right.
aloha for me.
Okay, another one. We're gonna miss you, Robin. We'll talk more about that. Michelle, go ahead.
Bev on the Big Island.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. And Rachel.
I'm Rachel Sprague calling in from the island of Lanai.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. I'll go to the ERP room.
That's
Mary Alice Evans, staff to the Environmental Advisory Council.
Tom Eisen, planner with the Environmental Review Program.
Kaylee Yoshioka with Environmental Review Program.
Thank you. And Allison.
Allison Kato, Deputy Attorney General.
Thanks, Allison. Jiaping, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Jiaping Faust, Project Manager of School Facilities Authority.
Great.
Thank you. And it looks like Tessie is signing on. So maybe we'll just give her another second so we can get her in on the normal introductions. Okay. All right. Hey, Tessie, is that you signing on?
Oh, now not.
Go ahead, Robin.
I wanted to be here for the quorum call, but I'm going to have to go jump off and jump back, jump off, jump back for just a couple of minutes. We have somebody in our house doing some work and they may
Okay.
need a little bit of advice.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm
And
here. I'm
okay,
here.
good. And thankfully Tessie's here, so she'll keep quorum. Tessie, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Oh, you're on mute.
Tessie Kinnaman, Hawaii.
Okay, thank you, Tessie. Okay, so we'll go to agenda item 2 now, which is the OPSD Director's update.
Oh, thank you, Chair. So this is Mary Alice Evans in the EPR room. And first I want to give you the good news that Kaylee Yoshioka has been hired as our environmental health specialist too, to assist the council, and we are extremely lucky to have Kaylee. She was our Holly Imua intern last year, and we just enjoyed working with her so much that we encouraged her to apply for this position that Les Segundo was in for decades, I think. And so I'd like Kaylee to say a few words.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be back with EAC and ERP, and I look forward to working with all of you guys.
Hey.
Congratulations, Kaylee.
Yes. And then before I talk about legislative items, I'd like to express my own thanks to you, Onauna, for your incredible steadfast guidance of the council as chair, and then Mike's input from the Big Island, Robin's support on legislative matters as a member of the council, and Steph's help with all things annual report and other challenges, and let you know how much we're going to miss having you. We're just, we've been very lucky, just very fortunate to have you guys. And I know Scott Glenn, if he were here, would say the same, especially as you all worked on the update of the rules that has proven to be so helpful. So, and in case we don't have a quorum for June, we will, this would be, I thought, maybe might be my last opportunity to give my appreciation for your work. And on the legislative stuff, well, they did adjourn on May 3rd. We have some bills. One will be an update to the Hawaii State Plan, which we're very fortunate if the governor signs the bill into law. There's never a guarantee on that, but we will be recommending that he does. There will be one position and some program funds to carry out the goal of updating the state plan. Looking at what might be outdated, what needs to be added, and getting input from as many new voices who didn't have an opportunity to participate when the state plan was the last full review. It's had additions since, both climate change, adaptation, and sustainability, and the TOD Council, but it hasn't had a complete update with the opportunity for public input. So we're looking forward to that if the governor agrees and signs the bill. Another bill that the Office of Planning will be working on in conjunction with the Hawaii Tourism Authority is a update to the tourism functional plan, which falls under the state plan law. And the bill, if the governor signs it into law, will add regenerative tourism to the visitor functional plan. And I think that'll be it's a great opportunity to add in some of the stuff that the Hawaii Tourism Authority is already doing with their destination management plans for each island that look at the sore spots, if you will, and figure out ways to improve both the visitor experience and our residents' interaction with visitors and protection of some of our special cultural and environmentally sensitive areas. So those are two bills that I'm looking forward to working on with the Office of Planning team here. And we'll see what else, emerges as partnerships for the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. Thank you, Chair. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Mary Alice. Any questions for Mary Alice on the director's update? Okay, well, seeing none, I'll go ahead and move on to, let's go ahead and do agenda item number 4 first, which is the exemption committee update, because we do have someone from school facilities here, and then if okay with folks, we'll come back to the minutes after that. All right, Michelle, I'll hand it over to you.
Great, thank you. Well, we received a list from Hawaii School Facilities Authority, revised list. It was originally submitted back in January. And Japing is here representing School Facilities Authority. We met 2 months ago to review the list. We had only one very minor revision, and that was made following our meeting last month. Unfortunately, we were unable to agendize it as an action item last month. We wanted to bring it to council, but now we have had time to put it on the agenda. So we are bringing a motion from committee to recommend that the list be published for a 15-day public review period. It was attached to the agenda, so I guess I'd like to open it up if anyone has any comments on the list or questions.
So that was a motion out of committee recommending the 15-day public, recommending that the list be approved for a 15-day comment period. So we are in discussion now. Any discussion? Okay. I'll just add that, in the exemption committee meeting, we did talk about the process a little bit with Shiping, and in terms of, if the council approves the 15-day comment period today, it will be published in the May 23rd edition of the environmental notice for 15-day comment period. So it'll miss being on our June meeting, which, we might have quorum issues for anyways, but it would come back to the full council after comment, or at least go back to committee as early as July of this year. So that's what we're looking at right now. All right. Any other questions or comments, discussion from the committee members? Okay, well, if there are none, I'll go ahead. All those in favor of approving the school facilities list for 15-day comment period in the exemption or in the environmental notice, please raise your hand, keep them up. All right, it looks like we have a unanimous decision by all of the members present. All right, so that'll go ahead and be published, and I think Michelle and Tom will be in contact with you, Japing, going forward once we get the comments back. All right, any questions?
That's all for that item.
Okay, thank you. Any other updates from the exemption committee on other agency lists?
Yeah, the only other list we are currently reviewing was the DHHL list. They attended the meeting last month. We had sort of a large structural change that we proposed that they consider. So they are still considering that. So they didn't attend this month's meeting. So we will just wait to hear back. That's the only pending list right now, in addition to the School Facility Authority.
Okay. The other thing, if I can add, Michelle, that we talked about in exemption committee was, since we are a little light on lists right now, is I think Michelle as exemption committee chair will kind of go through the inventory of all of the agencies that have come in to update their lists and those that haven't, and make a decision on whether or not to reach out to those folks to come in and update their lists. And the other thing was, we're going to take a look at the exemption guidance that was done back in 2019 and kind of refresh that. There's some things like, it still refers to OEQC. So we'll make those kind of, very easy changes, and then also take a look for any substantive changes that might be required. All right. All right. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna thank Japing for attending, and yeah, you should see that being published on the 23rd of May.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So I'll go back now to agenda item number 3, which is review and adoption of the April 2024 meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to take a look? And if not, let me know if we need a few minutes to go over them now. No? Careful saying, okay. So do folks need some time to review, or has everybody already reviewed? Okay, I see some people looking down, so why don't we take a couple minutes to review the April meeting minutes, and I'll check in about 2 minutes.
Move to accept the April 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes.
Thanks, Tessie. Do I have a second? Okay, and Robin will second that motion. All right, do you folks need a little bit more time to review the meeting minutes, or is there any discussion or amendments? Okay. All those in favor of approving the April 2024 meeting minutes as drafted, please say aye, raise your hand. All right, and that is also unanimous with all of the members present. Thank you. And thank you, Kaylee, again for keeping such good meeting minutes for the council. It's very, very helpful. So glad we're caught up on those. Okay, so next up on the meeting agenda was INO update, but we don't have anybody from INO committee at this meeting, and I don't believe there is an update for that. So we'll go ahead and skip ahead to agenda item number 6, which oh, sorry, go ahead.
I did chat with Dawn about the possibility of having an exemption forum at HCPO. So I did reach out to Hawaii County for that, and they said they were not accepting any more proposals. I know the official period had closed, and so April Serpinot just confirmed that yes, it's closed and they're not considering any more proposals, but would let us know if that changed.
Okay, well, thank you for doing that. Did they say what the forums are going to be? Did they tell you? No. Okay, just curious on that. All right, so because HCPO is not accepting any more proposals, did you speak with Don or the other INO folks about doing our own exemptions panel that was previously planned, or still nothing scheduled for that?
Nothing scheduled. Yeah, I think it's still a wish, but sort of waiting to see what happens with the council and members, I think, before we make a commitment to schedule anything.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. Any questions on that? All right. If not, then we can go ahead and move on to agenda item number 6. So again, this is kind of rollover from our last couple of agendas, continued discussion on, really strategic planning for the council. What is our role going to be moving forward? And, in our last couple of conversations, there were some questions, or at least brainstorming with Mary Alice about, things like how would we do a rapid environmental assessment, let's say for emergency situations, and consultation generally with the council on those types of issues. So I don't know if anybody has had some time to think about those things and those continued discussions, or Mary Alice, if you have any other developments on, the working groups that you're working with on these issues for affordable housing and whatnot, if there's anything to update us on that.
Chair, I believe that HB 2406, which established a climate, health, and environmental action special fund, did not pass. There will be continued discussion with proponents of this effort to impose a tax on transit accommodations to support environmental programs. through a special fund established in the Department of Land and Natural Resources, but yeah, I think it died in the end of the session. On 2358, do you happen to know what happened to that, Tom?
I have heard nothing that it passed, so I'm assuming that
That it may not have passed?
it may not have passed.
Can you check on your?
I did check, and there's no, it was just last was the Senate draft of the House draft.
Okay, so that didn't pass. Yeah, thanks, Tom. So we'll talk to the proponents and see if, they're planning to resubmit for the next legislative session.
All right, thank you for the update on those. Yeah, it seems like a lot of things didn't go through this session, like other sessions, but things that we thought maybe did actually have some legs and would go through. In terms of, so I guess going back to kind of the focus on the strategic planning discussion, again, I just wanted to reach out to you, Mary Alice, in terms of if you have, I know the last couple of discussions we had was really talking about processes to consult with the council on kind of emerging issues that come up. And I think where we ended up was just if you have specific questions for folks with certain subject matter expertise, you'll reach out to them. But I don't know if one of the particular I can't say that word today, substantive topics, excuse me, that came up was, kind of the thought about the rapid environmental review for, emergency situations. I didn't know if there were further discussions, because I know you're sitting on some working groups and whatnot for that. And if there were specific points that you wanted, the council to consider.
The governor continues to extend the emergency proclamation for wildfires with exemptions as needed to address the impacts of the wildfires on Maui and the Big Island. This is not specific to Maui, although the impacts for the Waikoloa area were much less damaging. Not de minimis, but less damaging. So, and no loss of life, fortunately. So to the extent that there are requirements, they tend to be at the federal level. So where FEMA is thinking of doing an affordable housing, replacement housing project at the Kaanapali 2020 site that they're still looking at, they have published a NEPA document for that project because the governor's emergency proclamation does not exempt federal law. Federal supremacy prevents that. So we have seen that the permitting agencies at the county and the state level still want to build a project file for the various replacement housing developments and infrastructure repairs caused by the wildfires. They don't require permits necessarily, but Maui County has opened an expedited permit office with a vendor called Four Leaf that worked on the Paradise, California wildfire expedited permits. And 300 house lots have had the debris cleared by the FEMA and EPA vendors, and the testing for toxic substances has been completed for those, and they've come back clean. So there will be lots that will be available to go through an expedited permitting process, county process for rebuilding. And of course, some of those property owners do have insurance payouts, and others have SBA loans. And so there is a possibility that they will be able to do that without having a formal expedited environmental impact process, in place, because the emergency proclamation takes the place of that at this point. But it's clear that the permitting agencies at the state and county level, as they deal with this disaster, want to create a record of the characteristics of the rebuild, and keep a project file, create a project file and keep it so that future requests for maintenance or rehabilitation or renovation have something to look at, and that shows that these were legal builds under emergency proclamation. So I think it is shaping up to be at least a record, but it isn't yet a process for an expedited environmental impact disclosure yet.
That's helpful. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, yeah, I think everyone's just curious how they're gonna do it for an area like this. So that makes sense that they're creating a record, even if they're not requiring permitting. Are they going to, I don't know if there's been any discussions on like issuing presumably a certificate of occupancy at least, even though, or something to that effect so that there is a record that, yeah, this was permitted or allowed. I don't know if there's that level of detailed discussion at this stage.
No, I think the county has definitely intends to issue building permits, which then would, I think, pave the way for a certificate of occupancy. I think, they're not sure they have the capacity to if everybody decides to rebuild at once, they definitely will have capacity issues. But but they have gotten support to have the expedited permitting vendor and office. So it's possible they will also get support to do the building inspections that could lead to certificates of occupancy. And that would also go into that project file record. So I think that would be helpful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions for Mary Alice? And of course, members of the public are allowed to provide testimony on any item as well. No. Okay, well, yeah, again, thank you for sharing that update. That's very interesting. So I think really, I guess for the council, this process seems to be pretty thought out by Maui County and OPSD and the agencies involved with the emergency proclamation. I don't know that we have anything else from our end right now, but certainly for future, council discussions, thinking about that process. Next up on the agenda is, really continuing to look at the updated guidelines. So we did get comments from ERP. Thank you very much on our guidance document. So this draft that's attached to this agenda is the most updated version showing changes from the last version. And if anybody else has, questions or comments on that document, please let me know.
Chair, I'd like to compliment the council and staff on creating probably the most clear and set of business processes for agencies and applicants and future councils to work from. This is great. I'm actually just amazed at how easy these are to follow and how clear they are.
Thank you. Yeah, and it was a good work between everybody. I mean, all of the committee chairs and council members work to develop, you know, the language that we have. So yeah, I think it's in pretty good shape. We can probably, you know, basically put it in final for now. I think, and you know, again, these policies and procedures are meant to be kind of a working document, and you know, and can really be updated at any time, especially for future councils as needs may change. So, all right. Yeah, if nobody has any other comments on that. So again, thanks to ERP for giving it a good read over and providing comments on this last round.
Did you want to, it's not clear from the agenda whether these are can be action items that can be adopted by the council at this meeting in case your June meeting doesn't have a quorum?
Correct. Do we?
Yeah, that was my question.
That's a good question. So I guess, Allison, for this policy and procedure document, do we need to have council action to approve it? Where?
Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't hurt to, right?
I mean, good practice, I guess, to make sure everyone's on the same page and proves
Sure.
it, but
Okay,
it's not absolutely necessary.
sure.
We can.
Well, we can, right? Okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, given, again, potential quorum, and we'll talk about that and we'll talk about that next, but I would entertain a motion then if anybody wants to make one to, approve the policies and procedures as is, and I'll finalize them. So, okay,
So
I think
approved.
I saw, okay, Tessie first, Robin seconded that motion. Thank you. Any other discussion? Yeah, so if folks are okay, well, what I'll do is put it in final format, no red line, just PDF it as the approved version and put today's date on it. Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, and it is approved by all members present. Thank you, folks. Let's see, let me just make some notes. Okay. So moving on. So our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for June 4th. Okay, we're losing Mike and Robin. Michelle and Rachel and Tessie, are you folks all able to attend? And then I'll reach out to Mary and Dawn and stuff separate to see if because we need a minimum of, actually, if we lose 2, 7, so we'd need 4 for June. And I guess we can, if we don't have a lot of business, we can also just discuss, canceling June and doing July, but I will reach out to Mary and Dawn and kind of hold to see whether or not. But yeah, Michelle, Tessie, Rachel, you folks are available.
Yeah.
For June as of now. Okay.
Yeah. And I'd like, since the SFA list will be publishing in May, I would like, if possible, to keep the meeting just so we can approve, concur with the list in June.
Okay.
So not waiting.
Well, I think it doesn't make it till the July meeting, right? Because it's not going to make the cutoff for the 15th.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Right.
so July is the earliest we could approve for council. Okay. So definitely we'll shoot for a meeting for July. And I'll check in with Steph and Dawn. In terms of the quorum issue, I continue to reach out to boards and commissions. I have not received responses to my inquiries. So I don't know, Mary Alice, I hate to put you on the spot. I don't know if you have any pull on this or have heard and can give us an update, because again, I know we have at least 2 candidates that are in the pipeline. And with this, very sad news that Robin and Mike are this is their last meeting since they won't be able to make June. And then even for Steph and myself, I mean, our terms technically end June 30. I think I could hold over until November at the latest, but that's coming real soon that we're gonna basically lose a lot of folks. Yeah, any update from you? Have you heard anything? Because yeah, I did, I've reached out a lot. And the last communication that I got from boards and commissions was, we're working on it. And that was it.
I think I did hear that the governor does intend to make some interim appointments now that the session has adjourned. If the governor makes an appointment after the legislature's deadline for submitting governor's messages, which was back in March someplace, and does make the appointment before the end of the session, then that person, I think, they're not confirmed, and they end on the last day of the session. So I think the governor's office waits until after adjournment to make those interim appointments.
Okay.
So I heard that they are considering, the governor is going to make some interim appointments now. That's not specific to this board, but it maybe all boards.
Okay, I'll continue to check in with those guys to remind them that we do need appointments for council.
Yeah.
And I'll send them an updated list. Oh, Rachel, go ahead, you have your hand up. And
I was
then
just going to ask, is it, Robin and I had chatted about some folks, and I reached out to two who both said they're on too many other things and they can't, but is it, so as my question is it still worth us trying to reach out to folks sort of in coordination with you, Onauna, and encourage people to apply on the boards and commissions website? Like, is that worth their time maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question for boards and commissions, because I said, and I thank everybody for tapping into their contacts, because that was a big push for us to try to get replacements for ourselves. And we have at least 2 people who actually applied in response to those efforts. So I don't know, Maria, the hope is that they do keep this board going. Like I said, when I've reached out to a couple of folks, and they said that, yeah, the intent was to appoint, but just who knows when is the problem.
No, I think it's worth asking people to go on the Gov's website and fill out the application. Rachel, I would certainly not want to discourage any. We're going to, we want this advisory council to continue, because there's work still to be done, especially as we're looking at, the impact of climate change, making our environment more vulnerable, and needing to have disclosures of when a geographic area is subject to sea level rise, or maybe have wildfire sensitivities, vulnerabilities. I think there's a strong need to keep an advisory council that keeps us aware of where some of those vulnerabilities are, and how that needs to be disclosed with mitigations through the EIS process.
Thanks, Mary Alice. That's helpful. So short answer, yes, please have them apply. Yeah, and I think it would be good just to have people in the pipeline, so that when governor is finally ready to make appointments, at least they have options to do so. And yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, and thank you, Mary Alice, for that. I guess anything you can do on your end to continue to encourage those appointments would be great. A couple months ago, at least a couple, I know it was during session, early in session, I had been requested to send our list of everybody's terms, who's on the committee and when they term off. So I know boards and commission has that, and I'll go ahead and send them an updated list based on
I've seen that.
where we are today, now in May. Yeah, and I can send it to you folks again as well with the updated list.
Oh, now CC me on that.
Sure.
That
Absolutely.
message. Take
Will
that.
do. make a note of this.
I'm sorry for going back and forth here, folks. Please excuse me with this.
No, no problem.
I'm
We're
gonna
just
put,
talking. Oh, go ahead, Robin.
no, go ahead on now. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just saying we were, just to update you, we're just talking about trying to get folks appointed, and I'm gonna resend the list of terms and every, the council roster and term expirations and everything again to boards and commissions. And I'll provide it to Mary Alice and ERP again as well, so they have it on their records and kind of copy everybody on the same emails. So
does that list include the start dates for terms? Because like in your case, that allows us to see that you have the potential for holdover capacity to November. Robin and Mike, do you also, and Tessie, do you have, does June 30th mean your full 8 years of service, which then you wouldn't be able to hold over? Or do you have some of you serve partial terms?
I think some folks, and I have to check the list, and I'm sorry, I don't have it on me right now, but we have the holdover calculations included already on that list as well. So yeah, the next question would be to those folks who can hold over, whether they're willing. So yeah, but in any event, I think the latest holdovers are November of this year. So it's not much more time. Yeah.
Right.
And we had some folks who, of course, like Ron and Maka'ala,
that maxed out completely.
Maxed out, yeah. So there are some, and you'll notice on the list, folks who were, I think Steph's last one, she was approved until 2026, but she hits 8 years far before that.
Okay.
For some reason. So yeah, we do to the extent we were able to, and we weren't able to do it for everybody, but for most of the members, we included start dates, holdover calculations, and even included the GM numbers. So that to try to track, so that we could figure that out. So it's as comprehensive as we could get it. And I think there's just a couple of folks that we weren't able to find all the information for. So yeah, we'll pass that over to you folks so you have it for your records.
Yeah. That's something we want to keep
we have the holdover for Anana and Steph. And then after that, it'll just be Michelle and Rachel.
And Dawn Dawn has the capacity to stay on longer. Her initial term was only for a year that expired, I think, in 2023. So she's been holding over, but she has the capability, or at least, she hasn't hit her 8-year max. So she's one that we have identified to boards and commissions that we wanted to get her reappointed. So yeah, there's so all of that information's on there, but yeah, if not, search passes to Michelle and Rachel. So you guys can pick who you want. Get on your, get those folks to apply. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate, any efforts, Mary Alice, that you and ERP can have with this, since they don't really respond to me.
So how does an interim appointment work since the legislative session is over? If the governor's office makes an interim appointment to a board, how long is that typically for?
It's until the next legislative session, and so that person will have to go through Senate confirmation in the 2025 session, and if they're not approved in that session, then they can no longer serve. But yeah, so basically they start serving as they would a full member, and then we have to, keep in touch with boards and commissions to make sure that their GM gets sent during session so that they can get a hearing before the committee and full Senate confirmation in 2025.
Well, now, and I have a totally unrelated question. It's actually to probably Tom. I wanted to put something in the chat for everybody that's a PDF, but when I do it, it says that I'm restricted from putting PDFs. Is that something you can adjust? It's nothing major. It's just kind of an overview of legislation that was passed and not passed, put out by Hawaii Styles and Friends.
Oh, that's helpful.
Maybe
I think it might be too big.
Maybe it's too big of a file.
Can you email it to the ERP
Email.
Yeah.
email address and
I'll do
then,
that. I'll
yeah,
I'll
Tom
email
can
it to the ERP.
strip
Okay,
it,
good-
yeah.
Good idea. Okay.
okay, thank you. Yeah, that's nice. That's helpful. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, Robin, add me as a CC under the ERP general address.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions about appointments? And that's sorry, folks, that I wasn't successful in getting people appointed during session. But appreciate everybody trying to help. Okay. So just a couple other announcements. So we do have the annual financial disclosures are due as of May 31st. So you should have received an email on that. Thank you to Allison. She actually reached out to the Ethics Commission to ask whether or not council members have to do the ethics disclosures because we're an advisory committee. So we do have, a formal written response now that says going forward, council does not need to do ethics disclosures,
Oh.
but they did ask that we complete them for this year. Is that correct, Allison? I believe that's what,
Yeah,
yes.
because some people already turned theirs in, so they said everyone had to do it.
Yeah, just to complete it for this year, but then going forward,
It's no
No.
longer necessary because the board is advisory.
So this is for the final.
That's financial disclosure. You said ethics, but it's
Correct.
a financial.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's the
that's
financial
great.
disclosures, but the request for the opinion was to the Ethics Commission.
Yeah, they manage that process. Well, that's really good news.
Mhm.
Because honestly, that can be a deterrent to getting people to want to serve. And
Right.
so that's terrific.
Right. Okay. Yes, thanks, Allison, for reaching out to them on that. So yeah, just a reminder, please do it, complete it for 2024, but no need to do it going forward. The next announcement is there, as you folks know, all of the committee members or council members are required to do Native Hawaiian law training. I think the requirement is just to do it once, but of course, if you want to do it more frequently, you're able to. And there's a couple of dates coming up, and the registration deadline's tomorrow. So there is training on May 15th and one on May 22nd, and I believe they're both by Zoom. So if folks want to go ahead and do that, and if you haven't done it already, please make sure that you do it. Other than that, I don't have any other announcements. Does anybody else? Okay. So as of right now, June meeting is tentative. I will reach out to Steph and Mary and Dawn to see if they're going to be able to, but we will aim, if not June, to have a meeting in July. And we'll continue to keep pressing boards and commissions to get members appointed. So, all right. And Mike, and I know Robin stepped away. If this really is your last meeting and you can't hold over, we so appreciate all the work and expertise that you folks provided to us over the years. Thank you so much for being active participants, and you really have contributed a lot to this council, the big rule-making effort, everything that we've done over the last several years, and it's been a pleasure serving with you. So thank you folks so much.
I always believe in making new friends, and I'm glad I have new friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Robin. All right, well, hopefully one of these days we can all see each other again. I'm not sure, actually, we didn't schedule an in-person meeting yet, probably not for this summer, but and I might have to pass that off to whoever the new chair is going to be, but we'll continue those discussions, and I'm happy to help the council for as long as I can. So, and even after I'm off. But okay, well, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. I know everybody has a lot to do. We'll be in touch via email to schedule the next meeting. And thank you folks very much for your time. So it's 1:51 p.m. and we'll go ahead and adjourn. Have a good day, everybody.
Aloha. Happy
Bye.
Mother's Day.
Bye, Mike. Bye, Robin.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Uh,